Prologue, a sociologist walking down the halls of academia. Psst, sociologist! Oh yeah, those are those social work people. They do family stuff. Cool. Psst, sociologists, they're a bunch of flaming Marxists. Hey, but I took 101 and they really changed the way I thought about inequality. Don't encourage them. Psst, sociologists. Soci-whatagist? Is that even a real thing? Whoa, 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 Alice, sociologist here, and it is time to set the record straight. Act 1, Sex and the State. I hate to tell you this, but young men just aren't getting married at the same rates that they used to, and I can tell you exactly why. It's that pornography. It's accessible, it's anonymous, it's affordable, it is ruining the fabric of our families. It's the 21st century. Ever heard of sex positivity? If folks want to watch people engaging in activity on video, that's their business, not mine. Pornography is addictive. It is a public health crisis. Ask the social scientists, ask the neuroscientists. Addictive, please. Sex can be enjoyable, am I right? But addictive, cite your sources. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Alice, sociologist here. It sounds to me like we have an empirical question about pornography, addiction, and public health. There's a method for answering that. That's right, I'm working with a fellow sociologist in the sociology department to answer this very empirical question. What do scientists say about pornography as addiction? How does the media report this to the general population? And what are our state legislators doing with this information? So my co-author and I compiled a systematic sample of documents, those peer-reviewed articles published by scientists, and I can tell you that scientists are largely inconclusive on whether or not we can consider pornography to be addictive, largely correlational. And I can tell you that the number one predictor of whether or not a person will identify as addicted to pornography is religiosity. I can also tell you, based on our analysis, that in the media, by and large, overwhelmingly likely to report pornography as addictive, not challenging the addiction framework. And the media is much more likely to quote activists and religious officials than to ever quote a scientist in these stories. I can also tell you, based on our analysis of the 17 state resolutions that have been proposed across the country that declare pornography a public health crisis, that every single one of these state resolutions is going to tell you that pornography is addictive. Every single one of these resolutions is going to tell you it changes your brain. Now, you might be asking, why do I care about this research on porn addiction and the state? As a sociologist, I can help contextualize that for you and tell you, in the history of the United States, our government has a habit of regulating people's sexuality, of telling us what is legal and what is not, what is normal and allegedly abnormal. So I would argue that it behooves all of us to pay close attention to what it is scientists are telling us and what it is our representatives are actually doing with that information. Act 2, farmer to farmer. Rural America, that is the America that I know and I love. That is the wholesomeness, salt of the earth, people, the communities that come together. I'm talking about Main Street. I'm talking about small town businesses. I'm talking about the movie theater, Friday night lights. Rural America is in decline. Those people are backward. They don't know what's up. They don't know what's going on. Why can't the people of rural America get with the times? Speaking of the times, didn't you read the New York Times last month? They told us, quite frankly, there's a lot to be learned from rural America in terms of voluntary organizations. Nebraska, number 8 in the United States for social capital. I'm talking about McCook, Nebraska. We've got a lot to learn here. The Times, didn't you read the New York Times last month? They literally told me rural America is in decline, and nobody, I mean nobody, knows how to stop this. Alice, sociologist here. Sounds to me like we have an empirical question about rural America. Guess what? There's a method for that. I'm working with a super cool team of social scientists to figure out what is rural America? What do we mean when we say rural America? Who are the folks that inhabit these spaces? Who are the people who are coming? Who are the people that are leaving? We are analyzing a slew of historical documents. These include primary sources, secondary sources, a smattering of demography to keep up with who's in and who's out. And we ask questions about the family farm, for example. Any fans of family farmers in the audience? How about why we don't talk about family ranches? A topic for another day, but I can tell you based on our analysis that in 1935, Nebraska had more farms than any other time in its history. What we've seen since then is the number of farms decreasing, the size of farms increasing. So we're talking about how the rural landscape is changing and how we make meaning and sense of this. We talk about health and well-being in rural communities, and who is it, when we say rural communities, that we care about? There seems to be a lot of care for the plight of the farmer. But what about the rancher? The rancher, is a rancher actually just a cow farmer? Scratch that. Don't ever actually ask a rancher that question. That is a terrible, terrible idea. So you might be wondering, why in the heck do I care what people are saying about rural America, or the fact that the New York Times literally posted 2 completely opposing opinion pages about the exact same topic? Well, here in the state of Nebraska, if you care about your property taxes, you care about this conversation. If you care about the Farm Bill, if you care about systems of agricultural production, who works in different fields in Nebraska, you care about these questions. Think to yourself how many times you have heard a member of our unicameral, or Fortenberry, or Sass, or Fisher, or Smith, or Bacon talk about the relationship of the farmer to the farmer, the integrity of rural America, and the farm to fork movement. These are very skillful wielding of frames that work to mobilize people based on our feelings and our beliefs and what we think actually exists. So if you care about your communities and you care about Nebraska, you care about the research that we're doing about the ideology of Nebraska. Speaking of those rural Nebraska communities, Act 3, Borders and Barns. Lincoln, Nebraska here, and I hate to tell you, we have a brain drain right here, right now. Young folks are leaving our state at rates we have never seen before. We have got to do something to stop this brain drain. We have got to take care of all of the young folks in our state, the dreamers, the DACA recipients. We've got to get driver's licenses, and we have got to get path to professional licensure for our dreamers and our DACA recipients. Fremont, Nebraska here. Yeah, you know, home of the incoming Costco plant and those chicken barns. Go ahead and bring that Costco plant. Go ahead and bring those chicken barns. But hold up a second on who you bring to our town, because we are going to ask you on our rental agreements your citizenship status. What's that, you say? That's unconstitutional. We're not worried about that. We've got Chris Kobach on legal retainer, folks. We've got it covered. So we want certain type of folk in our communities. Lexington, Nebraska, over here, we are a vibrant, growing community of immigrants, refugees, and longstanding Nebraskans. We have a vibrant county museum. We have a Main Street. You can eat at food from no less than 5 different countries in the span of 3 blocks. You want postmodern street art? We've got that. You're a hipster and you want food trucks? We've got that. What is the big deal with immigration? Alice, sociologist here. Sounds to me like we have an empirical question about immigration policy and how we can have so many different understandings over time. Guess what? There's a method for that. This, in fact, is my dissertation. trying to figure out how organizations across the state of Nebraska research immigration, make sense of policy, and come together or not. So I can tell you that most of what we know is from traditional border states. I don't need to be the one to tell you that what works in California does not necessarily work in Nebraska. So if you care about our public school system, if you care about education in our state, if you care about any of our communities, rural or urban, you care about what immigration policy is doing, you care about who it impacts, and you care about how our cities, counties, and state are legislating these policies. Epilogue. Dear University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you sincerely for teaching me how to channel my passion and my curiosity into social scientific inquiry. I want to thank you for teaching me rigorous scientific methods to answer these pressing empirical questions that have implications for all of us here in this room. I want to thank you for connecting me with very insightful and a couple irreverent sociologists who have given me the confidence and the conviction to stand here and say, hi, my name is Alice, and I am a proud social scientist.